This is Mary at the.meri.atelier, and I want to do a short video talking about my January 2022 sketch art journal. This morning, in the wee hours of the morning, the tiny hours of the morning when we were doing our New Year's streamathon, I attempted a sketch of this lady who is Helen Hunt Jackson. And I took verses from her poetry New Year's morning to work on my New Year's snow globe zine that I'm going to be doing. And I sketched her. And I have to tell you guys, I was not happy at all with the outcome of the sketch. And I want to talk about that a little bit because, well, first of all, it was the tiny hours of the morning. You have to think about the conditions that you're sketching in. I have been up all day, almost 24 hours. And I was doing this sketch in a stream that I was filling in on, and the result just did not go over good with me. So when you do some art and you're not happy with it, think about what's coming at you, or what kind of an environment were you in when you did that. Also, think about what is it about the sketch that you don't like, and I'm going to talk about that in here, and I've talked about that before. I'm going to show you the sketch first. It was this sketch. I am not happy with this sketch. I knew that I sketched with an ink pen, and that's one thing I want to do in this journal is sketch with an ink pen. And there are a lot of challenges to sketching just with a big pen or with a pen from, this one happens to be pens from the dollar store. I haven't opened them, but I'm going to do that right here. Because once you make a mark on that paper, unless you can go in and white it out and all of that, but I want to get to the point to where I don't have to go in and say, oops, her eyebrows too long. I should have made it shorter, or I should have worked with her eyes look like almonds. Her eyes are really rounded more. This sketch does not look like this lady to me. This is off of Wiki. This is in the common domain, public domain. So I was looking at it and I'm going, well, I know what I don't like about it. First, I know that I did it very fast, but and I know I don't like this. I know I don't like the shape of her eyes. I'm not happy with her ear. There's just a lot of things I'm not happy with on this. But there are some things I am happy about it. I got that she was looking off over this way in this direction. I like how it fits the page. I like that. So while I've been watching other streams in the New Year's Streamathon, I've been practicing, and I'm still practicing on doing this same sketch. Not that I want it to be a picture perfect. I don't believe, well, let's put it this way. It is not my goal to do a sketch that is so good it looks like a photograph. That's not my goal. My goal is to do a sketch that get a good likeness because I want to develop my skill. I want to be able to put down on paper what I am seeing here. And I think there is a difference in that. If I wanted a photograph, I would go copy this off, and then you have it. In the days when they did not have photography, they needed more portraiture artists, and now portraiture art is a good thing to have if you want somebody to paint a portrait of you, which, it's just not my thing. It may be your thing or somebody else's thing, and that's fine. It's not my goal. My goal is to develop my skill, to develop my hand-eye coordination, to develop how I see things in relation to other things, how I see her ear in relation to her nose, how I see the shape of her eyes. And I really missed it on this one. I'm not happy with this sketch at all. However, I'm not unhappy with it either because I do think there are things I like about this sketch. But I want to show you what I've done. This was sketch number 1. And then here's my second attempt. Here is my second attempt. I slowed down. I didn't have the world watching me do this. I practiced the nose a little up here. I'm still working on noses. Noses are something that I'm trying to develop. And when you look at this photograph, you have to take into consideration that this photograph was probably shot in the 1800s or early 1900s maybe. And look, even on her head, there's a spot in the photograph. But her nose is not that well defined. If it is, you have a line there, but you can't very well draw a line there. You have to develop that line with shadow. And on here, I drew a straight line. And I think that the more I developed this, the happier I was with it. Getting back into here. So I'm much happier, and I want to show you as I work on things how just in the space of 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5 hours, 6 hours, how if you really concentrate on something, you can get better. I'd worked on the eye before. I was working on the nose here. That was my number 2 sketch. That's another sketch. That's number 1. This one I'm happy with. This is my sketch of her. I'm happier with this sketch, although it probably is not a perfect likeness of her, but it gets pretty close, doesn't it? It's close enough that I feel like I have done that nose. I'm still working on it, but I have the shading in there a lot better. And when you draw with an ink pen, it's pretty hard to get shading unless you're cross-hatching. And I have found, of course, you can get a lot of shading. Let me pull the wax off of this. You can get a lot of shading if you really dark shading like this, if you go over it a lot. And you can see in here, I've shaded her face a lot by just letting up. I'm still doing my diagonal lines, but I'm letting up on the pressure. I'm putting more white space between the lines, and I'm working more on the tonal values, even though the tone of my ink is still the same. And I think that really was accomplished in this photo. I'm not completely happy with this one. I'm still sketching her. And here's where I'm working on all the noses. And look what I got, studies. Oops, look what I did to that nostril. I put, oops, study that nose. And I put, I don't have it yet. Here I put, well, it's better, but not quite what I want. And then I went over here and I started doing some sketches of the nose with the eyes. So the more you practice, the more you understand what's going on, even in this photograph. And I wish I could enlarge this on my phone that I'm sketching from up there. I can enlarge it and get way in there. And I can see, I can kind of hold it up here. You can see how that shadow, look at the shape of that shadow. Look at the shape of it. It's kind of interesting. You wouldn't think that that shape right there, it's really an odd shape. It almost looks like a hand. But when you pull it back this way, it forms a shadow around her nose. Very interesting. And it's those things that I like studying. But mostly I came on to show you that when I do something like this, I do come in and study it more. And I'll probably do this again. She has what I described earlier as kind of a, let's get her portrait out. She has sort of a square forehead up here, and it kind of comes down. If you could get her chin, take her chin off, she almost has a square face. But then her face kind of rounds off down here at the bottom. So it's kind of a square shape of a head with a rounded chin at the bottom, and then of course her hair up here. I guess you could call that a round face, But if you call it a round face, it's not completely round up there. It's more of a square shape with a round chin. That's how I describe her, the shape of her face. And I tried to accomplish that there. See, I've got the squareness of her face, and I don't think I started with her chin being more round, but I shortened it up a little. So I got sort of a round chin. I might need to work on that a bit more. Her eyes, just studying this, if you look at this picture, even if I can't enlarge it anymore, her eyes are much darker on the photo than I have them here. But if I made these any darker, they would be black eyes. On a photo, your eyes adjust to that. When you're drawing with pen and ink, you almost have to have some tonal values in there that you know that they're eyes and not raccoon eyes. So I just wanted to come on and show you the kind of things that I want to study in this sketchbook that I'm doing. I did a couple sketches here. This was just a really fast sketch that I did, and I think I did this one online too. I don't remember, to tell you the truth. But see, I wanted to get the darker values in there, and I did sort of, just by shading it, but not happy with the nose. The eyes could have been darker. And this one I'm not happy with at all. Here, I'm just not happy with her at all. She's okay, but I'm not happy with her. I'm happy with my studies on this one and my study on this one. And I'm really happy studying the noses. So in 2022, you are going to see me do a lot of this. Just studies of people. And I'll probably get them off of old photographs or something in the public domain. So I just wanted to come in and talk about that. I also want to talk about my Scribble Journal here. This is a challenge that I'm issuing to you guys, and I call this my Scribble Journal. I made it out of cards. I know there are a lot of challenges going around in January, a lot of challenges, but this is my challenge. Take a card, get stationery paper, just do a simple pamphlet stitch. I think I did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Bind it, and just write down quotes and notes, thoughts, things you want to remember. I really do like this. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to make my first entry today in it. So thank you for watching. I wish you all a very happy, blessed, healthy, prosperous 2022.